292 677666. You want a house? Link Claudia Davis, man. You want a piece of land? She are the real big woman. Miss Davis, she are the real big woman. Which she coulda never go wrong with she. They can put house and a van through she. They can put acre land and a Miss D are the real big woman. Which she coulda never go wrong with she. They can put house and a van through she. They can put acre land. She tell me pre smart, pre better. Get your own damn place so you prefer it. Dear me wife if you sign up letter car. NHD them a regent setter. Plus me don't get a youth of a member. The son just on table in December. And she do construction too. She will build your house for you and you get it well rendered. Davis, she are the real big woman. Which she coulda never go wrong with she. They can put house and a van through she. They can put acre land and a Miss D are the real big woman. Which she coulda never go wrong with she. They can put house and a van through she. They can put acre land. She now start it and left you there. Me I tell your brother yes she well prepared. And if you're meeting enough farmer pangarang, she give you lawyer brother pay your fear. She are the best RS agent. She help the need if you stop pay rent. They don't care bad mind them just give me strength by steel and gravel and black and cement out. Now me house that I build up on the highway and save some me money gone up in the sky from. Me be Claudia, me say me nah lie bang. Have money and me pocket never giant. Me swear for me life say me son him have to fly so. Hypocrite pagan want me die, but no can't stop Claudia Davis don't try. Every day another house gone Miss Davis, she are the real big woman. Which she coulda never go wrong with she. They can put house and a van through she. They can put acre land and a Miss D are the real big woman. Which she coulda never go wrong with she. They can put house and a van through she. They can put acre land. Yeah man, you know. It's Claudia Davis. Pick up yourself. That's a like, subscribe, and share. Claudia Davis. And get your house anywhere. Just be prepared without no fear.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Mom, how's your morning? Mom, how's your morning?
Tony, hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hold on. You hear me?
Yes. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you now, yes. Morning, everybody.
I'm asking you, how's your morning going?
My morning? Same as usual. Whole heap of things to do. I'm meeting an electrician. Now you're telling me I'm meeting a plumber as well. Oh my God, it's a Sunday.
The best time to meet electricians and plumbers.
Yeah, right. And then usually you have to run up and down in hardware with those people now.
But you should be for the electrician there.
No, everything should be here for him.
Yeah.
But the work never ends.
And you know the funny thing is, we're not doing the physical work. We're just like supervising the work to ensure that it's done, right?
That's not the hard part. That's why they pay supervisors more money. Because that's the hard part. The brains part is a hard part, you know.
But you know what I find strange when I sit down and watch the workmen, the tiler, the painter, I feel like sitting down and watching them is harder than actually picking up a paintbrush or a tile and laying it.
Yeah, like my tiler. My God. Stress. Morning, everybody.
So we have Dwayne's Portal as the first person on it.
Hi, Dwayne. Dwayne's Portal. Hi, Dwayne. Dwayne, do you actually have a portal? What's Dwayne's portal? I see Naku Jam as well. Was he the second person?
No, we actually have My Serenity and then Cheryl and then Juliet, and then Lexi G.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
If Naku was here early, I would be more early. I'd be surprised. Naku, don't you have football on Sundays?
They play football at 6 a.m.
I don't think Naku is in Jamaica, you know.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Good morning. That's a Joy too. Morning, Joy.
Morning, Ruby, and hi, Duncan.
Observer.
Mm-hmm.
Cool name. Observer. Like the Observer newspaper.
Yeah. My Sorrento has a question. What is the process to get a long tenant out in Jamaica? The tenant has a month-to-month lease. Can the landlord have the utilities disconnected?
Um, Let me answer the last question. By law, no, you can't have the utilities disconnected. But if the landlord, if the property owes JPS or NWC, you would hope that they would disconnect it. So you can't really disconnect it. So the short answer for the no for the getting them out is you have to serve the notice.
Mm-hmm.
Now a lot of persons moan and groan about the long process to get tenants out, but the truth is the landlords have also been tardy. When the person doesn't pay the rent, so let's say the rent is due the 1st of September, you can't give a notice until I will need to do something on it. Maybe next week we'll do it.
1st of October.
It's the 1st of October. But you're caught between a rock and a hard place because you must give 30 days clear notice again. So, Tony, can you find something quick on it? So, even after you give the notice, you wait 30 days, then you have to give 30 days clear notice. So, let's just say it's January 1, the rent due, and the rent don't pay. You have to wait till February 1. When you wait till February 1, you have to give 30 days notice. So, technically, now, because the rent due the 1st and you get a notice on the 1st, you don't have 30 clear days. So, you have to go get March, end of March, they must come out. So even though you're writing it the 1st of February, because the 30 days catch up with you, then you end up giving the notice to vacate 30 days clear notice, that 30-day clear notice. You end up writing a notice for 30, March 30. Not able to see that one, Tony. And then you have technically tenant in there 3 months already. So when they have not vacated the premises after the notice period, you're to go to the courthouse and get a summons immediately. So a notice to quit residential premises are to give at least 1 month's notice, which must be a full rental month and should expire the day before a new rent month begins. That is, if rent is due the 1st of the month, the notice must be prepared and served on the tenant before the 30th or 31st of the month. So you see a challenge to expire by the 30th or the 31st of the next month.
If you haven't paid the other month, they would owe 2 months.
Yeah. So if you have a written lease, the period of notice must conform. So if in your lease it says the 1st of the month, you can't write the notice for leave for between the 15th of this month and the 15th of next month. It must cover the period for the 1st to the 31st or the 1st to the 30th, or no, to the 31st. What else you need to know? You need to know what reasons you can give for notice. There are some specific reasons that you can give for notice. Research at Tony.
See there? Number 2.
A notice to quit is not valid unless there's a reason stated why the premises are required, such as non-payment of rent for 30 days or more. And this is where you get caught. So listen now. The rent is due on the 1st. Therefore, the rent is due on the 1st. Them don't pay the rent. You cannot serve a notice on the 2nd or anywhere in that month at all that them owe the rent.
Yeah, because they might pay it up.
Because 30 days have to pass. Non-payment of rent for 30 days or more. Right? That is why you can't write the notice same time. However, helpfully, you can write reminder letters. So if the rent is due the 1st, person don't pay it on the 1st, write a reminder letter on the 3rd. Good morning, good afternoon, good day. Please be reminded that the rent is due on the 1st and I have not seen it in the account. Please advise of same has been paid, da da da. You write a letter on the 1st. That's not a notice, that's a reminder letter. By the 15th, write the reminder letter again by the 15th. By this time now, I would have been making a phone call anyway, right? Tony would have made a phone call to by that time. At least by the 3rd, we would have started making phone calls to see what is the challenge. 30 days pass, that month, no rent. The problem is now, when you write, so 30 days of a pass, period of a pass. So you write this thing the 1st of the next month. When you write it the 1st of the next month, you have not given 30 clear days notice. You must give a full period. So technically, when you're writing it in February, remember now, them don't pay the rent for January. They cannot write the notice till February. But February 1 jump in and you write the notice. To give 30 days clear notice has to take them to an end period of March 1. But the court is going to say never give 30 days notice based on this law. So you have to, when you're writing in February 1, you have to write the notice for them to exit the premises March 30. That way you have 30 clear day notice. So write the notice somewhere in February and make it be March 30 that them leave the premises. Now, if this is happening to you, by now, this tenant would have owed 3 months rent. So once the tenant come the 30th, they have not paid the rent, you are to, and remember you must do it in duplicate, right? So you need a copy, them need a copy. You're going to take your notice to the court, get a summons, try and get the earliest date that you can in the court. When you get that summons, it is to be served on the tenant. So usually we use a process server, and these men are always at the courthouse, so you can get one of them, right? So you get them served the notice. When they serve it, not the notice, serve the summons. When they serve the summons, they're gonna take it back to the courthouse. If you serve a summons, you must take it back to the courthouse. Let them know it is served so that they can do what they need to do and get it on for the court date. Court date comes, you are to make sure that you attend the court yourself or your representative. And when the judge asks, can you give any more time? You are to say no. By this time, you're 3 months out. Chances are the summons is give you a 3 months date. Let's hope not. Or a 4 months date down the line. So by this time, you're 6 months out, 7 months out. You really need to tell the judge. If the judge asks if you can give more time, tell the judge no. That's what I do if I have to go to court. So no, Your Honor. This has been chronic and it is posing a hardship. Tell the judge, right?
But this is why you have to run your rental income like a business, you know.
Right.
That's why you can't just have one house or one room rented.
Right.
Because if you end up with one bad tenant, it puts you out a lot.
Yeah, but some person that running a business, they must want a little change, right? Or them have the house there and it lock up and them say, okay, let me just rent it. So let's read the note why you give notice, how you can give notice now. So you need 30 days. Remember now, non-payment of rent 30 days or more. Or premises required for landlord's own resident, meaning you, the landlord, want to go live in it. Or premises required for somebody wholly dependent on the landlord. So if you have a child, a parent who is wholly dependent on you, who needs a place, then you can give that notice. Premises are required for major repairs, or premises are required for purposes of being improved. Scroll, Tony. Or premises required for purpose of being improved, or premises required for purposes of being rebuilt. A notice to quit residential premises ought to have at least 1 month's notice, which must be a full month. Remember, rental month, you know, not calendar month, rental month. So if your rent is due the 15th to the 15th of the next month, don't bother with that. What you should try to do as a landlord, get your rent to start on the first of the month. Keep it clean that way. First of the month, that's when your rent due. If the tenant is coming in midway into the month, I suggest you prorate the bill. So let us say the rent is 30,000 for the month. 30,000 for the month, so you know that is $1,000 a day. So what you do, tenant coming in the 15th, you only charge 15 days rent. Tenant coming in the 20th, only charge 20 days rent, and so on. No, them coming in the 20th, them only have 10 days leave. So only charge 10 days rent. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Prorate the rent for that month. But come the following month, the tenant knows the rent starts on the 1st. In your contract, it starts on the 1st. But you're also, even though they're coming in mid-month, quarter month, half month, whatever, you are to collect a full month's deposit, right? And in your contract, make sure you say that the tenant cannot leave out the deposit. If they do leave it out, it's up to your discretion. They must leave out the deposit, and no part of this deposit must be applied to any rent. Now the thing is, once they go into default with the rent, technically now you probably use a deposit to cover 1 month's rent. I don't know, but it gets sticky, right? So your aim is to really get out the tenant. Now, let me tell you a little trick I learned. Now, I learned this from a course that I paid for some CDs by a gentleman named Carlton Sheets. Go and look him up, Carlton Sheets. Is his program still around, Tony? You can look it up. So Carlton Sheets back in my young days. I tell you now, I read everything that moved when it comes to real estate. So I found Mr. Carlton Sheets, and he was the one who taught me about vendor's mortgage, wraparound mortgage, all kind of things. And he also spoke about tenants, and he also had some sample sheets, sample letters, and so on that you could use. One of the strategies, so he was the one who said, right, give a written reminder, 3 days, and these days you have emails, so you don't need letter. You have emails, just email the tenant that the rent is outstanding, or send a WhatsApp that the rent is outstanding, right? Or pick up the phone and call, the rent is outstanding. And you're going to do this maybe every 5 days for the 30 days. What's the story? What's going on? Da, da, da. Some persons may have been a little dislodged, like they changed jobs, or they're going to be changing jobs, or they got fired, and so on and so forth. Or all kind of things happen in life, right? But one of the things you can do, come the 30th, no rent, you offer to move the tenant. Usually now this is because them don't have no money. So offer to get a moving truck and the workmen to move the tenant to wherever they want to go. Tenant still resisting, pay them 1 month rent to move. I've had to do that with a property before. I've done it in recent times because I've really had any bad tenants like that. But pay them 1 month rent to leave the premises. Now I hear some of you say, oh no, they move me. Me not pay them. No, Tony, they move me. Me don't want to pay them no money. But guess what? You're already 1 month out. When you serve a notice, 2 months out. So that's 3 months now you're out. Then you go to the courthouse and give you a 3 months date. You're 6 months out. Wouldn't it be better to pay the tenant 1 month, get rid of them, and put in somebody in the second month in the place instead of having it empty for 6 months? Somebody do the maths. Tell me if it makes sense. Or Mr. Carlton sheets make sense.
The decision with your head and not your emotions.
Ah, Tony, make the decision. Tony, you need to talk to the ladies. Make the decision with your head, not your emotions. You are to make mathematical decisions. And this is where I find a lot of persons fall down. Both in them personal and them business life, maths weak. Your world maths, your maths on the ground must be strong. I don't mean maths, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Basic maths must be strong on the ground. We call it street maths or living maths.
Not only that too, but when you think about it, even the maths of your long suffering. I mean, you're gonna sit down with this tenant for 6 months, calling them every minute for the rent, and they're not paying, and they're giving you excuses.
And then they block you.
Yeah,
and then them tell you can't come in on the premises, all them something. Then. No.
You don't have access to your own property that you've worked so hard to build.
Right.
And pay them the 1 month and just call it a day.
Pay them the month and get them out. After get the truck to and move them. So it's not having problem. Cheryl was the one who asked the question.
My Serenity.
My Serenity asked the question. My Serenity. I just give you a strategy. Pay them to move out. All right. Carlton Sheets taught me that. I don't know if Carlton Sheets still have a course, Tony?
And it's there on Amazon, and you can buy his Audible. If you have an Audible membership, it's free. If you don't have an Audible membership, it's $21.
All right.
I think his book is there still as well on paperback. You can buy them used.
Okay. I have the whole series of CDs, and I have the folder that came with 3 books in it. It was money well spent at the time. We're talking about maybe 20 years ago. I bought this series from him, Carlton Sheets. Long time. He reminds me of Zig Ziglar in that kind of era. All right. So, that's the solution. Try that before you go to court. And some of you will pay lawyers because you're not physically on the ground. You're gonna pay the process server. You may as well take the money, get the tenant, make them move out. All right, who disagree with me? Sharika said, yes, she agree. I've heard of that strategy. Pay them to move out. Real talk and ease them out. Yes, get rid of them that way.
Yeah, sometimes
pay 2 months, but just move on.
They're just really facing some hardships.
Yes.
Cheryl is asking, I have a house that I was trying to connect a water meter for, but NWC is saying they don't have any meters in stock, and I have no idea when they will have meters and can offer unmetered water, a flat rate. Have you ever heard of this? Boy, have we heard of this.
Boy, have we heard. Well, first of all, the flat rate is more expensive than the water that they were run.
I know, right?
So they were charging a flat rate for $4,600 on a property that didn't even have anybody living there. Nobody was living at these premises. But I didn't realize that they didn't have any meter, which is what they should have said. So now that them telling you them don't have no meter, it's because I call them and raise them up and tell them that they must tell the customer that they don't have any meter before you install, right? And offer the customer the flat rate, let them know what it is, and the customer must agree. You don't just connect. And boy, did I really get under that lady's skin, man. Yes, that's why I want to tell you.
Miss Claudia for change.
Yes, I get mad, man. We said, no, that's how this thing works. Because normally, if it's like,
Advertise.
yeah, well, like saying advertise. If it was metered, you're not going to pay 4,006. Well, unless you're a heavy water user. But you're gonna pay 4,000. If you're a heavy water user, yes. If you're not gonna be at these premises, I suggest if it is a must. So with new gated communities, you have to connect water. But if them don't have no meter, them tell you that as soon as them connect it and you meet this whatever
criteria
standard or whatever you meet for the developer, disconnect it. If you're not going to be living there.
Mm-hmm.
Or put in your water pump, fill up your tank, and disconnect it. Because you're gonna pay 4,600 every month for a place you're not using water. But if you're gonna be there, you're going to be using the water, then connect it and pay the 4,600.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not a heavy water user, so like I'm told you how much your water bill, about 2,000?
1,800 inclusive of tax and sewage.
Wow. 1,800 included. What kind of tax? You pay tax for water?
If there's no tax on water, could swear I saw a little tax on it.
Yeah, you can check it. We don't know them have tax. What am I tax water for? I mean GCT tax. If you're over a certain threshold, but with that you can't have pay tax. When we're gonna discuss also the electric bills. So I'm gonna do that a little later on. So stay tuned for that. I say Sherry says she never knew the strategy.
No, it's a service charge, it's not a tax. It's a water charge, sewage charge, and service charge.
You barely use water, man. And your bill is how much? 1,000 how much?
833 and 76 cents.
1,000?
833 and 76 cents.
Oh, 1,833, so 1.8. Antonio actually lived there. So you see, when them charge you 4,600, somebody like Tony now. Highway robber that.
When I had the leak, the bill was 3,000.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Unless you know them not send no water come out of the place where you.
No, what happened? I don't like high bills. So I'm very conscious of the water I use.
Okay.
Yeah, because even like to brush my teeth and wash my face, I have a little jug that I use.
Okay. You see, people, that's how you do it. You have to live frugal. So you can't waste the water down the line. And right now, you have to be frugal. All right. You have another question. So we finished with the rent. And those of you in anglings with tenant, try and use that strategy.
Naku says, I'll catch up on sports later. No football until later.
Exactly. Right now it's serious business, right? Serious things going on now.
Lexi says, no, you have the option to serve a second notice or go to the civil court. Civil court?
Why you want to serve a second notice? Them ignore your first notice. So send them a summons. Don't bother serve a second notice. Oh, did I lose my life? Oh.
No, I can see you.
Can see me? Okay, yeah. Don't give them a second notice. Them ignore your first notice already. So give them the summons. Some persons will leave once they get the summons too.
Cheryl says also, do you have a company that you use for blinds installation?
Who did you use? Blinds Jamaica.
Blinds Jamaica we use.
Mm-hmm.
So Mia Baker, hello. Have you found any land on the North Coast to do the community build?
Not yet. Remember, we're looking for Riverland. So the group has been formed. Where's my phone? Tony, just put your form out. The group has been formed. We're using Telegram. Persons did get the link. So those of you who are not watching your email, we sent the requests by email for you to be able to jump into the group. Those of you who I already had in my phone, where I connected you directly, but some of you I don't have in my phone, and even some persons for some reason not even adding to my WhatsApp. I don't know why, but the link is there. Tony dropping a link. We're on Telegram. And we started doing, we're at the research phase of the project now. Where's my Telegram? We're at the research phase of the project. So it's called Homestead River. So persons have been joining using the link. How many persons I had signed up? I think I have 30 on my form, but I don't have everybody. You haven't joined yet. So I know some of you listen to me. You may have filled out the form, but you haven't yet joined our group. So you need to join the Telegram group because that's where the discussions are happening. So far, persons are to pick a river. I think I gave them a list of rivers and waterfalls. Did I give waterfalls? So we're doing a research to see where those rivers are now, which parish, and narrow it down to the parish that we probably want to be in. And that's where we are, research. We have to kind of narrow down what we're looking for. We need a criteria of what it is that we're looking for. So in this group, I haven't called a meeting yet, waiting for everybody to join. So those of you who fill out the form, please join. Tony, drop the form in the chat now.
No, for some strange reason, I'm having an issue.
You have an issue with what? Finding it?
No, I'll figure it out.
All right, so the form there now. That's a homestead form. Those of you interested. And the homestead is a group of us coming together to create the homestead. Tony, I see somebody said, Leo, they're not getting access to Facebook to view photos. You're live on Facebook?
Well, you need to have a Facebook account and log in to view the photos from Facebook.
To view the photos? What photos?
The photo of the rivers that you sent. It's a Facebook link you sent.
It's a Facebook link. Oh, you have to be a Facebook user.
Right. And logged in.
And logged in. Okay, got you. I think Tony permanently logged me on my phone. You did something on my phone because I don't need to log in.
No, my Facebook is on your phone, so I'm always in. So you're always in.
Oh, got you. Okay. You have any more questions, Tony?
Yeah, I have to. I'm trying to scroll back up because I went down to the bottom to paste the link. Okay, so the next question is from Currency Walk. Boy, to go through all this to get rid of a bad tenant. Shake my head. That's why you have to choose good tenants from the start.
Yeah.
You have to choose really good tenants from the start.
Although some people present as good on the face of it, but you have to can. I train myself to read body language. Train yourself that way, guys. Train yourself and ask the tough questions. Some of you don't want to ask the tough questions, but ask them.
And if you look like a landlord that they can push over, you will get more bad tenants than good tenants.
Yeah, your posture. The posture is important. So even when you pull up to me, the tenant don't act mousy. You have to be assertive.
Yeah. I've had to develop a stiffer backbone. In having tenants is a lesson in life, you know.
Yeah.
Remember when I first started out my way?
Yeah.
So learning curves.
Yeah. But no, we can't let go your hand now.
But now I know when I need guidance, and I come direct. I say, Mom, the situation is above me. Solve it.
Me must solve it. All of it is in like in any other job is just confidence, guys. You have to build your confidence, right? Build your confidence. You can be a little bit obnoxious too, as a landlord. Some people don't get the message unless you're just a little bit, you know. But you be nice, but you must be firm.
Yeah. What I found though is not having a not a friend relationship, but having a relationship where they can communicate with you very easy. So like I do tell my tenants, if by the 20th of the month, because the rent is due on the 1st, 20th, 25th of the month, you know you're not gonna pay your rent on time, tell me why. Have a conversation with me about why this rent is gonna be late or whatever. Because I've had tenants who've used their rents to pay for funerals, you know? And so they can't pay the rent when it's supposed to pay. But it's just like a lot of situations. But they have to be able to talk to you.
But the 20th is too far. You need to push that to the 3rd.
No, the 20th before the rent is due.
Oh, before the rent due? Oh.
Yeah.
You want them to tell you before it due, so it's not gonna pay.
Right.
On time.
And why not when paid too? Because I've come up with situations where they don't have all the rent, so they're trying to make up the rent. So I said, pay what you have on the 1st.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want a situation come where you end up with not having the money because you blow it on something else, because you're waiting to build up the money. Pay what you have.
Pay, yeah. And that's another thing. Yeah, that's another strategy. Tell them to pay what they have.
Right. And I've had a few tenants where they've paid me weekly for like a 2-month period because they were just trying to catch up, basically.
Yeah. All right. You have another question, Tony?
Yes. Lexi says deposit is to cover damage or outstanding bills.
Yes.
Deposit is cover damage. The bills should be the tenant's responsibility.
The what?
No, Lexi's asking if the deposit is to cover damage or bills.
But the bills is the tenant's responsibility. The bills.
And if the utilities are included in the rent, then they're your responsibility. But I guess she's talking like the water, where the tenant, it may be the tenant's responsibility, but it's in your name and they're not paying rent, so they're not paying utilities. And like NWC have a way where they take forever to disconnect.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Why they don't just disconnect after 5 days if you don't pay the bill?
Exactly. I don't know why. JPS has gotten better with that. JPS is a 10-day and then you get disconnected.
And if you're a bad customer, is the next day. Only good customers get 10 days grace.
But NWC is tardy.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Because your bill had run up to 1 million, 2 million. Oh, you never look on a bill run up so you know say nothing. You know, disconnect.
But because NWC has to physically come there to cut the line and put a cap on it. Maybe that's why they take so long, and they're not efficient in sending out their teams.
I don't know, but I'm very inefficient. I think that's one of the worst utility companies ever. But
So the only one that's government owned.
I guess they'll get with it one day.
And I really
the more highway robbery about 4,006 flat fee. All right. Do you have a next question?
Come in. Here Care QA says greetings. Cheryl says, yup, make plenty of sense. Lexi says, real talk and ease them out. Cheryl says, yes, agreed. I've heard of that strategy, pay them to move. And my student say, it is a gated community and tenant not paying. Can you change the gate code to lock them out?
No, you can't.
Right. Those type of actions will go against you in court.
In court, yeah.
And you can go to jail for some of those things, don't you, Mom?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, you don't. You don't do that. What you do is go in and talk to the tenant, and as I said, pay them to leave.
Mm-hmm. Monica says, good morning, Tony and Miss Davis. Morning, Monica.
Morning, Monica.
She says, I have heard of that strategy too. Pay them to move out, but wished I knew of it sooner. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You can still pay them to move, even when it get chronic. Ruby says, wise thinking. Cheryl says, they say flat fee is between 4,000 to 6,000 per month, plus fees averaging around 1,200 to 900.
What? Disconnect. When them connect and you sort out whatever, disconnect. If you're not gonna be there.
Cheryl says, yes, I'm thinking disconnecting it too.
Mm-hmm.
Kadisha said, Tony, you don't live there.
Of course you live there. Just not the excess baggage.
People don't realize, but I live a very, very simple life. Like, I don't have anything in excess.
No stress.
Ruby wants to know. Cheryl says, yes, there's a tax. They say anywhere from 1,200 to 1,900. And Ruby says, what is the procedure to sell a property?
To sell?
Mm-hmm.
If you're using a realtor like me, contact the realtor. Usually the realtors will go and look at the premises, tell you if there's anything that needs to be repaired or maybe anything to be touched out, any cleaning, usually the grounds, the house, that kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. So we go through the whole of that, the whole inspection and what needs to be done. And then so we have a listing agreement that you will sign up. Also the customer form that you'll sign up. You must give us your ID, your TRN, and your proof of address. And then that listing agreement gives us, the realtors or the realtor associates, the permission to sell the property. And then we proceed with the marketing. Or of course, if you want to do it on your own, then you proceed with the marketing and get it done. Once you find the buyer, then it moves to the lawyer, who will now do the paperwork, sale agreement and so on, get it through the stamp office, titles office and so on, accept the proceeds and all of that. So that's the lawyer's work. So basically, the job of the realtor is the marketing, finding a buyer for you, putting you together. Then the job of the lawyer is the conveyancing part. That's how it is in Jamaica.
If it's an older property too, you want to look if there is anything on the title that may prevent a sale from going smoothly.
Like what?
Like property was built, did an addition, and it's now breaching the covenants on the title.
Well, that's a survey. Well, yeah, the covenants on the title, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Survey will pick that up, or you can pick it up. I mean, if your title says you are to be 10 feet from the fence, and you have this house 5 feet from the fence, then you have a breach right there.
Yeah.
And that's something that, yes, needs to be sorted out.
Or your fence is in the incorrect location.
Or your fence is too high.
Mm-hmm.
There are some covenants that say 5 feet from the road. 5 feet from the road, guys, not from the banking. 5 feet from the road level. And you have your fence when you check it at 6 and 8 feet. We have had to hit off walls in the front just to meet 5 feet. We have had to take down fences, walls.
Or something as simple as you have inherited the property, you haven't yet started the probate, so you really can't sell it as yet.
Right, that's another thing. Yeah, those of you with wills, you need to go do the probate before you can sell. Your name being on the will don't mean that you own the property. Well, not yet. So you need to probate. Then when you get the grant of probate, then you're ready. All right.
Or I've seen one where the parent wrote on it that the property is for the child's life enjoyment, quiet enjoyment. They can't sell it, and I didn't realize that.
Ah, yes. Yes, guys. You know, so if you don't, if you don't want them to sell your property, put that on it. Estonian, it is for your quiet life enjoyment and your heirs and successors. That's it. You don't buy it, why are you trying to sell it?
One ham says, "Hi, just join. What is this river project?"
You want to take that?
Sure. I should have a little video, that explains this. So the river project is coming off another homestead project that we have in the works. What we're trying to do is gather a group of people with a shared interest in creating a homestead with a river on the property, using our resources to purchase this large lot. So like 10 acres up is I think what we have generally decided, right? Because we're saying
We haven't decided yet.
All right. So purchase a large plot of land with a river. And the purpose is to make it self-sustaining in terms of being able to provide food, so plants or animals, being self-sustaining in terms of access to rainwater harvesting, solar energy. The property itself should be able to generate some income. So with the river, we're thinking that it should have create river activities where persons can come by and enjoy the river, lounge by the river, and do other activities river related. We're also thinking that this plot of land will also have accommodations, both for short term and maybe long term stay.
All of that is in your head though, because we haven't met yet to discuss it.
Yeah, all is in my head.
So when we meet to discuss it, I guess Tony will bring up all of those points.
Right.
But basically, yes, that's what it is. So Tony did drop the link in the chat if you want to register, if you want to be a part of the group.
Alia says Facebook blocked me out. Blocked me out. Alia, what you did to Facebook that they block you out?
I didn't know Facebook do that. Don't them do that. That's why you have to have your own platform, man.
Shakira saying, what are tenant selection tips and tricks to avoid having to go through evictions? The biggest one is that your tenant's income must be 3 times the rent. That's the first one.
To ask for the pay slip.
Yeah.
And some of them will give you fake pay slip. We've had those.
Right. So whatever company is on the pay slip, you need to call the company, verify employment, right? And check that the company is actually a registered company. And you can know when the pay slip is fake too. It just shows a lack of, usually they get the maths wrong in terms of adding up the year to date in terms of NIS and stuff. So you can, if you generally know what it looks like, you can see when you have a fake payslip.
Mm-hmm. You also need a robust application form.
Mm-hmm.
The form asking for everything, including them granny teeth.
You can ask for 3 references as well and call up the references.
Yeah. So your form must be serious. You want everything. You want to know everything about them. If they resist filling out the form, then move on.
Yeah.
But you want everything. And it's important that you do call the references. One of my favorite questions when I call a reference and have a little spiel, I'm like, if this person does not pay the rent, will you be willing to pay the rent? If them buck shuffle, nah. If it's a definitive yes, then you can put that as one of your persons that you will look at. But if them buck shuffle, reject it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, another thing is the energy of the tenant. So when you're doing the interview with them, if they're evasive, then that's not a tenant you want to have. You want a tenant, and if they're giving you too much information, it's also a tenant you don't want to have.
Yeah, like
giving like the whole life story as to why they need to move and whatever then that's not a tenant you want. And any tenant who needs to move now is not a tenant you want to have. Because chances are they're getting maybe displaced from somewhere else for non-payment of rent and those things. So they're trying to move into your space quickly.
Mm-hmm. Definitely that one. Not too much hurry. No.
Yeah.
No mother and father. No. Although some persons genuinely don't have a mother and father. But
you don't choose tenants because they don't have a mother and a father? That's never been my criteria.
Now I look to see family stability where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
So the reference on the paper must be one of those persons. If it's not there, I'll ask, where's your mom and dad? I notice you never use them as a reference. You might say, oh, them overseas. I say, no, you still put them on this for me. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
If they're deceased, then fine. But who is the next? Who is the person you would call if something happens to you right now?
Mm-hmm.
And they say John, and I look on the paper, I don't say John. I say, so why is John's name not here? Right? Mm-hmm. So you must get at least 2 family members, close, mother, father, brother, sister, uncle, nephew, so on, and 2 friends, close friends. So when you call those 4 persons, ask a question. This person don't pay the rent. Will you be willing to pay it? All right.
Mm-hmm. And don't be in too much of a rush to rent your space. You must have I guess maybe it's like an illusion that you're waiting out for the best tenant, right? So don't just take the first person that comes.
Yeah.
Jail says my tenant wanted me to add his light bill. Add his light bill? To what?
That's a strange one.
Yeah.
All right. Next.
Even though some persons, and that's another thing you need to look out for now. Sometimes they've left bad debts in electricity bills. So they want the electricity bill to be in someone else's name.
Name, right.
Yeah, you have to look out for that.
Have a look out for that.
Mhm. And you should also get the list of every person that will be living at the premises and their age. Because sometimes they come in and say it's them renting the space, but they have a long time living boyfriend, right? That
Yes.
person needs to be on your list, or you have communication for that person.
Yeah. And also, one of the things I would say to you, see, whoever you're renting the premises to who is paying the bill must live there. I'm a stickler for that.
Yeah.
If you don't live there, no. So you're calling me to rent the property. Oh, I live overseas, but so and so gonna live there. No.
The only exception I make for that is for students who are coming for like college students
Yeah.
and parents are paying the rent, but they're living at the premises.
Yeah.
That's the only time I make that exception.
But not boyfriends and girlfriends and
Or your wife overseas.
yeah.
That's a very popular one.
Yeah, them kind of relationship they go so bad quickly.
And then who is living there really can't afford the rent.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes not even working, just hanging out there every day.
That too.
Mm-hmm.
Lexi G says if they leave the premises with outstanding bills, then the deposit can cover it.
You can, which is why you don't give back the deposit same time. Wait for a bill cycle before you give back the deposit, and let them show you that the bill was paid.
Devroy says, I think studio apartment is the most profitable long term. I have less stress, build faster. I get single working young tenants, no damage is to manage, and they expand 2 to 4 square feet until I unit I can get 40K.
Okay.
Oh, so you build 224 square feet, rent it for 40,000, and you have single persons living in the space.
Right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's a good model.
Ruby says, how much and what is the fees or fee of the realtor?
5% is a standard fee. That's 5% of the sale price.
RPRW. I just joined the Homestead group, Miss D. What's next? Should I now follow the instructions to create a jot form?
No.
No, we're gonna send the person that just joined. I will send out the. Oh, you know what I should do? I should make it automatic. So once they fill out the jot form, they
Mm-hmm.
get instructions to join Telegram link.
All right, so Tony's gonna do that. So it will have yeah, I'm seeing where some persons have filled it. Who just said I filled it out?
RPW.
Okay, yes, I'm seeing it. All right, so we'll send you I will have your email address here. So we'll send you the link for you to join Telegram. So download Telegram to your phone so that you can be good when you get that link.
Okay, so Alia says I do not have account with them. Oh, that's on Facebook. And my student says, no, I understand why landlords are choosing not to rent to long-term tenants. But you have just as much trouble with short-term tenants.
Yeah, you do. Sometimes more. Sometimes no, them clean out the house. I was reading an article where the young man rented the property, went overseas, short term, and they had a party. It was the neighbors who called, and he one looked at his camera and saw them taking away all his clothes.
That rough.
Sometimes you do get the tenant from hell. And sometimes the short term, they go through Airbnb, then they report that, oh, the place messy and the place this and the place that because I don't want to pay. And Airbnb refund them.
Yeah.
It can be a headache. And you have some people who hop, skip, and jump from short term to short term to short term. Can be a headache.
Vanessa says, oh, My Serenity says, no, Alea says, I don't know why I request for a review with them locked for 180 days. Or maybe you can just use a different email and make a new account.
Don't have to ever beat it. Use a different email address.
Yeah, just use a different email, man. All right. My Serenity says the long-term market will suffer as landlords are choosing short-term rentals.
Well, it's not every landlord you have a stamina for short term. So you will still have landlords who opt for long term. Yeah, you will.
And the truth
Not everybody have the stamina. It's a serious stamina.
Or all the landlords do long-term.
Yeah.
It's only like the newer landlords that are doing the Airbnb.
Airbnb, yeah, the young one, them. And after a while, them jump out still. Them can't take the stress. They're not long suffering, as I would call it.
What happens is the truth is we go into this Airbnb market because we think we're making all these quick US dollars, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's a whole heap of work. Like and it comes with a lot of risk because you're dealing instead of you dealing with one tenant for 30 days, you're dealing with all 6 tenants for 30 days. That's a whole level of another level of stress, you know. At least one people are gonna give you a headache.
Yeah, different personality, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes different nationality.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody come with them nuances, right?
Vanessa says, good morning, Miss Claudia. Not because you are close to your family means they can bail you out financially. No, it's not really just about the bailing out, Miss Davis. It will speak to your character. If you're in a situation where your family don't speak to you,
Yeah.
that's a whole level of family dysfunction that's happening, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Right. Because
your family must can take a call to say, yes, I know you for 20 years. Yes, she's a good person. You know?
mm-hmm.
If you're not a family member to vouch for that, boy, you're not a problem, man.
Yeah.
You are alone in the wilderness. So you must either have an adopted mother, adopted father, a godmother, godfather, somebody who take care if you don't have a biological mother or father. Who you call when something happens? Next of kin must be in place.
All right. And sometimes too, even if your family is not in a situation where they can bail you out, you'd be surprised that like if your family, if your mom and dad really care for you, they juggle around, you know, and even suffer themselves to help pay your rent. Because I've had situations
not
where
even that. They're gonna put you up. Them if they're in Jamaica, they're gonna say, just come live with me.
Right.
Yeah. So you have somewhere to go when the moving truck come.
Mm-hmm.
But no, but you see, we can't deal with you have to understand this person living in your property for how long. The personality, the dysfunction person, you don't want that. You're gonna be in problems.
And I also tend to rent to persons who are more logical thinkers. So I do look at the profession that the person has chosen to engage in. And I found over the course of the years, depending on the type of profession the person have, really depicts if they they're a logical thinker or an emotional thinker, and how they react to stress. Stress like not being able to pay their rent, like how they're gonna react. Like I can know, even based on their profession, the type of tenant who's gonna avoid me and the type of tenant who's gonna call me beforehand and saying that they can't pay the rent. Yeah.
You have to do a class in the psychology of the tenant. All right, you have another question?
Yeah, on the list. My Serenity, is it possible to get a credit check for long-term rentals, police records?
Well, credit checks is only the companies I think can ask for credit checks, like the banks, building societies, insurance companies, and so on. For police record, you need the active participant of the tenant. So the tenant would have to go to the police place downtown, get the fingerprint done, and then get the report and then give it to you. You can't request a police report, but you can ask the tenant to give you a police report.
That takes, I think, is what, a week? Or you can get next day.
Yeah. But if I have to get a police report for a prospective tenant, no. If in my head I'm thinking, oh, I need a police report, no.
Yeah. And the credit report, they can get, I think, what is it, 1 free per year?
Yeah.
If you really want to request
if you really want it, so you can ask, but I don't even know why you would want that. What you really want is the pay slip. You want the pay slips last 3 months because you want to see the net pay is what you're interested in. It's a net pay that is going to pay your rent. So let us say the rent is 50,000, the net pay is 50,000. Them can't pay your rent.
And if their net pay is 100,000, they still can't pay your rent.
Net pay have to be at least 3 times the rent. All right. What's next? I think we have to move a little faster.
Good morning, Claudia and Tony. What's the realistic funds required to participate in the Homestead project? Are you purchasing shares or will you be given title for a particular plot?
We don't know yet with this one. With the first homestead that we're in currently, that one is called EcoStead, we have both. So we have both shares and we do have a plot of land. But with this new one, depends on what the group decides. Remember, we haven't done anything yet. So the group is going to decide what do we do.
DeVroy says short-term market is oversaturated. I think a lot of people don't understand the game of long-term rental. You have to find a unique way and have more than 4 apartments. Don't depend on one door. Exactly. Fire Youth says, what's the next plan if you participate and years down the line you need to move on?
We have had that with our current homestead where persons wanted to exit. So it depends on where you exit. If you exit early in the game, we refund the money to you straight from the account. So you're refunded. So we've had somebody who had to refund straight from the account. If you exit, and you don't get any shares. If you exit when we have already bought the property and so on, and we're really into it now, you sell back your shares to somebody. So we've also had that. So somebody has bought the shares. So let's say your shares was valued at 1 million Jamaican dollars. And somebody in the group will buy out your 1 million shares. That's how it is. Down the line now. So let us say we're complete. Everybody have their title. Everybody have their shares. Remember, these are private shares now, not public shares. So if you want to sell your shares, you can sell your shares to somebody privately. You can also sell your land because your name is on the title and everything. So if you want to sell it, you can sell it. So those are your exit strategies if you want to pull.
Ruby says, what kind of documents or paperwork do you have to sell the property? If your name is on the title, you do the title and fill out one of our application forms. If it is that it's a probate and then you're selling, then you need the final grant of probate along with the title
from the court.
From the court.
Yes, the court is a person who gives a grant of probate.
Hurricane Gilbert says, good morning, ladies. When submitting blueprints drawings to the parish council, will I have to submit my land title along with the blueprints?
Yeah, you submit a certified copy of the land title, yes. So you go to the titles office and get a certified copy. I think I just did it the other day. I don't remember how much I paid. It's maybe $900. It's not expensive though, or 1.5 something. I don't know, but it's not over 2,000. Or maybe it depends on the size of the title. I don't know, but it's not a big fee.
And Lexi G says,
and you have to submit it with a survey drawing to remember that. Survey diagram.
And Lexi says, you have to be careful of persons who pay 6 months rent and only visit twice. Scammers.
Yeah. Scammers, yeah.
And Matt says, so do you get growth value for the shares or the original money invested?
It's private shares. So you're the one selling back the shares. You can sell back your shares for the original price, or you sell back for however much you want to sell it back for. But this is not public shares. So for public shares, we would need to value the company and so on. So let us say we decide to go back to the market to sell some more shares. So we would have to value the company as it is now, the assets and so on that it has, liabilities, and come up with a price. And the accountants will do that, not us. Or an investment firm will do that. Or a brokerage company would do that. And then you would say, okay, the shares were 5 cents at that time. When you put in the money, it was 5 cents per share. This is now the value, so it is now $1 per share. And that's how you would come up with a price. But selling shares between me and you, so between me and Tony say, Claudia won $50 a share, even though it was $5. I could know, so yes, all right, I'll buy it. Based on what I'm thinking the projections of this company is going to be, and buy it. But usually it's an inside shareholder who would buy it because they already know what's coming and what's going to happen. So which is why they would have the confidence in buying it back from you.
Right. Ruby, Kadish is also saying, but wouldn't you want the covenant for the homestead to include vetting of new owners to ensure they don't sell to certain people of suspect character and don't just sell to random persons?
Now you're talking about discriminating. When you meet in the groups, you can decide that, but you have to be careful of discrimination.
All right. And Ruby says, how do you know how much is the value of the property?
Of which property?
I'm not sure. But for regular property, you just get it valued.
Right.
But is she talking about the homestead property? I'm not sure.
Not sure.
But based on Ruby's previous questions, it would probably be her personal property. Right. So you can do a couple of things. The best way is to get it valued.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The second option would be to look at historic sales in the community.
Mm-hmm. That would be a realtor though.
Right. To
see, we have access to the database.
Right. What has been sold. But remember, depending on where you are, the properties aren't exactly the same, which is why it's best to get your particular property value.
Mm-hmm.
unless it's one of those new gated developments where nobody has done much improvement and they're all generally just the same. All right, so Mom, you can get to your thing now. We've gone through all the questions. Oh, there's another one. How much can the rent be increased annually, and how long can the lease be for a long-term rental?
You can increase your rent by 7.5% per year. And you can write it in the lease from the start. So when you're writing a rental agreement, you have in the section, you say, come January 1, 2025, rent will increase 7.5%, and you put the figure. January 2026, rent increase 7.5%, and you put the figure. So you can actually write that in your lease before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's understood.
Gilbert is saying, are we allowed to submit a soft copy of the land title and survey diagram?
No. You need the original. It's not an online application. You have to physically take the documents in there.
And all those documents started out digitally. Farah says, good morning, ladies. Can you have a title amended from being tenant in common to joint tenant instead? If yes, is this something that you can have done directly through the titles office?
Yes. Go on the NLA website, fill out the form, get it notarized, take it back to them with the title. I think it have a stamp first. I'm trying to remember. Does it have a stamp? Yeah, you might have a stamp it at the stamp office.
That's a transfer form, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's the same form that Tony was showing us last week on the NLA website. Go to forms, and it's called transfer of title. That's what it's called.
Transfer of land?
No. Transfer of land?
Or title. I don't remember. Transfer of something.
Transfer of land, I think. So you put from so and so and so tenants in common to so and so and so joint tenant. Put back the names. You shouldn't pay any transfer tax because you're only transferring back to yourselves. It's not as if you're selling it or anything. You're only changing the tenancy, really. From tenants in common to joint tenants.
My Serenity says, my mother has a land she wants to develop into commercial residential buildings. Who should we meet with first? Architect, parish council, or engineer?
First thing she needs to do is know the zoning. So you can look at the title and see if it says residential or it says commercial. If it doesn't say that, go to the parish council in the parish, ask to speak with the planner, let them check the zoning. If it's commercial, residential, industrial, all kind of zoning. Agricultural, let her check the zoning.
She also needs to read the actual title to see if it has any restrictions on development.
Yeah, covenants that say something like no further development of the land, no further subdivision, those kind of things. Then you would have to meet with a lawyer now to lift those covenants after you decide if you're in the right zone. So if you're in a residential zone and you want to move to commercial, you have to go get change of use, which is another process. But if you're in residential and it's residential you want to do, fine, no problem. No. So the only problem that would probably block you now would be the title itself. And that now you need a lawyer who understands how to get covenants changed. You would also need to, and it depends. You said architect, but you only meet with an architect if you're doing buildings. So if you're going to be doing, so let us say, and remember, the development, the minimum land space for development like that is 1/2 acre, right? So if your property is 1/4 acre, then we'll tell you it's only a house lot. You have to be 1/2 acre and above. So let us say you're 1/2 acre and above, you check the zoning, and it is commercial and you're tight, you're good. You want to do a commercial building, you meet with an architect. Let us say you have more than you have 1 acre, 2 acres, whatever, and you want to do a subdivision, then you're gonna meet with a surveyor for that. All right, and it depends. If your subdivision is going to need roads, light, it's going to need roads, drains, all those things, then you would need an engineer on board. But it's a whole thing. I'm actually writing a book on how to do it, but it is a whole thing.
First step though is to review the title.
Yeah,
and then
first step.
Title, determine if you need to go and see the planner or the lawyer.
Yeah, well, you have to see the planner to determine your zoning. Yes, you can. Zoning can be changed. What you change is change of use. Zoning is the government. The government determines zoning. So the government are going to determine if this is an agricultural zone, or this is an industrial zone, or this is a residential zone. What you can try to do is change of use. So you can, even though the zone says agriculture, and you now want to go do residential development, you can apply for change of use from agriculture to residential, and you better have a very good reason for change that, or you're gonna have some fight there, right? But the change of use can happen, but zoning is not your prerogative. So them now gonna change. You can't get the whole of St. Andrews changed to agriculture, but you can get your little piece change of use. All right. So our WhatsApp numbers are 876-292. Is it on the screen? 876-292-6776.
No, apparently not on the screen today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, back to the questions. There's a lot of questions today. Ruby says, is it possible to give you a call today?
You can after 10. No,
yeah.
10 to 12. I'm in a millionaire club group. I would say after 1, yes.
Okay. Fire Youth says, is there a minimum for funds required to participate in the homestead? Just trying to have some sort of hard numbers.
Fire Youth, you're putting the horse before the cat. You have to join the group. Mm-hmm. It's a group determined that, not us here, so no. Mm-hmm. There's a group. You have to be part of the group. So when we get into the group, we will know the strength of the group. Mm-hmm. That will determine where and what we buy. So like Tony looking at a mobile property that's $4 million US. If we have deep pockets in the group, then yeah, we can just back out the money and go buy the $4 million US property, right? Mm-hmm.
If we don't have any deep pockets, we might be looking for something more reasonable in price.
Yeah, something way lower in price.
Mm-hmm. Like 300K, just depends.
300K, just depends. And depends on our goals, what it is that we want. Remember, we can take anything. So we can take lime and make it into lemons. Everybody.
And the thing is, once the land has the river, it has a space, then you can design on it whatever you want.
Yeah, it's a river we're really after, the river. Yeah. So when we get into the groups, we'll decide what is important here. What is important? The group seems to be saying river. That's the first thing. So if it don't have no river, don't look at it. Like on the other group, if it wasn't on the main road, don't look at it. So the other group wanted main road, sea view, electricity, water, cable, internet. That was it. We got all. So with this group, we will determine the criteria, set it, then we go hunting. What we're doing now is research. That's where we are now. Research and set the criteria. But on the farm, it does ask you to pledge the amount that you think you have. So based on that, we'll have an idea. So only put the money there that you can afford. Right? Only put money there that you can afford. Some persons have a little more deeper pockets than some. But what we try to do is when we get into the group, it will be set at a reasonable figure where everybody can be comfortable.
Hurricane Gilbert saying, so can I submit a photocopy of the title or just print it out myself and then submit the printout?
No, you can't.
You need to go to the titles office and pay for a certified copy.
What is he submitting though? He's submitting a building drawing?
Yeah.
All right. Long time in a submit a building drawing, Hold on. I think maybe for building drawing, we can print it out, It's for subdivisions, we need a certified copy. Go to the KSAC website. It's there.
Let me see. KSAC.
I think as subdivisions you might need certified copy for, but you definitely need the original of the surveyor's ID.
Sorry. You know where on this website? Resources, forms.
Application. Building application.
Mm-hmm.
Should be there.
Got you.
All right. I think there's a checklist. Go to the checklist. So you can go to the KSAC website. Everything is there. For the most part now, most of the public bodies in Jamaica have a website, everybody. So you can go there. My phone number is 876-292-6776. You can get Tony on 876-370-8138. You found it, Tony? Checklist.
I think so. Let me share the screen.
Checklist, Tony. That looks like the form itself. Okay.
Yeah, certified copy. That's the first.
They want a certified copy. So read the list. I can't see. So you need proof of ownership, which is a certified copy of the title, no older than 30 days. So you go to the titles office and you request a certified copy of your title. Have the volume and folio number when you're going down there. Or you can use a probate will, which is a grant of probate. Or you can use a sales agreement. So for persons who are actively now buying a Palmetto Pines land, and you'll be doing construction in another 6 months or so, I would say by about December, Parish Council is going to take about 3 months to give you your approval. So if you want to start building right away as you get your land, you can use your sale agreement maybe by about December to apply to get your draftsman engaged and submit your blueprint, so that by the time it comes out, the Palmetto Pine, by the time it's approved, by the time the building, you get the building approval, you are ready to build.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Tony, please remind me. You can also use a deed of gift or the conveyance. Or back in the day, they had something called land settlement. You can use that. Or you can use a letter of authorization from the owner. So if I have a land and Tony wants to build on it, I can give her a letter of authorization stamped by a justice of the peace or a notary public. If you're overseas, using a notary public. You need a current property tax certificate as well. You need your survey's ID report no later than 12 months. The survey's ID report is original.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's what you need.
And this one is for Kingston and St. Andrew, but for the most, they're all the same, right? All the same.
Yeah. And that's the actual application form you're looking at. But your draftsman or your architect will usually fill that out for you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody who is on title must also sign this application. Everybody who is on title. If everybody on title not there to sign, you get a letter from each person notarized as well. The authorization letter notarized by the Justice of the Peace or the Notary Public.
Oh, we still have questions, but Mom, what about the discussion that you needed to do with JPS?
Oh yeah, I did go through the bills. I don't have a discussion yet, but let me point out something. All right, Tony, bring up my spreadsheet, please.
Sure.
I went through it last night. Can you imagine? Labor of love. It's about 11 o'clock. I'm on this thing. All right, so you're looking at my spreadsheet that I did based on some bills that I have access to, right? So house one, so we're looking specifically what caused the rate increase. For the most part, the rate increase was caused by an increase in the fuel consumption. So if you notice in this, in house one, May, June, the kilowatt hours was 534.74. The fuel rate was 24.587. In June, July, kilowatt hours used was 482.92. And the fuel charge was 24.335. It was the same, similar. Then we went to July and August. The kilowatt hours was 599.45, and the fuel charge jumped to 32.172. For the most part, this was where the increase came about. All right, so basically now when you multiply the kilowatt hours and the fuel, so the total fuel charge for May, 13,147, June, 11,751, July, that fuel charge is now 19,285. Now I did a little maths because I understand there's gonna be a rebate. So I soon read the article. So I'm looking to see. So based on the article, when I read it, you'll understand. So if they had charged me the same fuel, that doesn't say they didn't increase the fuel, I would have paid 14,587 on the fuel side of it. But because they increased the fuel, I paid 19,285. So therefore, JPS would have charged me additionally 4,697.89 on the fuel. But I'll show you how we have other implications now. So scroll down. So house two, similar, where the fuel was increased in July and August to 32,172 from 24,335. And this is telling me that if they had charged me 24,335, I would have paid 11,432, as opposed to 15,113 when they charged me 32,172. So the difference there is an additional 3,681 on this bill. The next house was similar. The consumption was lower though. So the consumption on this one is only 229 or 229, 239, and 230. So in same July, August, the fuel raised to 32.172. And if they had not raised the fuel and charged me 24,335, I would have paid 5,597.78, and the difference is 1,802.75. So because they increased the rate of the fuel, which is why it increased. So most of those of you look at your bill and see it is a fuel. Now I also happen to have access to another bill. This is house 5 now. So this one is the one Tonya now with our baby usage, I think. Is it? No, could be.
Yeah, I think it's it.
103 was a consumption in May, June?
Yeah.
And then June, July, 68, and then July, August, 112. So for her now, the consumption, so they charged $32 in July and August. But interestingly, so she would have been overcharged. Well, not I can't say overcharged. So the new fuel price of $32.172, if it was charged at the $24.587, it should have been $2,777. But it was charged at 32.172, so it's actually 3,634.15. So the difference there is an 856 increase. But what struck me when I actually was looking at the bill, and it's a good thing I looked at it, I realized that this property got a 20% burial relief discount, which I have not heard a soul speak about in the press. Scroll down.
Well, to be fair, I didn't have any electricity, so I had actually come home to you who had electricity.
But 20%
we were
burial relief discount. But I did not see these on house 1 and 2 who did not also have any electricity. So I don't think it's because of it not having electricity why this 20% discount was applied. It seems to me that it was applied to properties who had below a certain amount of usage.
Oh,
scroll down. Yeah, because I picked it up actually on 2 properties that had low consumption. So if you notice, this consumption is only 84, whereas before I was showing you house 1 was 500 or something was the consumption, right? Mm-hmm. So JPS applied a 20% relief discount to some bills. It would appear to me that it wasn't applied to the high bills, those bills that people are consuming apparently, I would say over 150. Scroll up a little, Tony. If you notice, this consumption is 84, 65, 76. Consumption on that house 5 is 103, 68, 112. So I would say consumptions below maybe 120, they give the 20% burial relief discount. Now scroll down. The discount $725 would have helped to mitigate the fuel costs for that first bill. The second bill, it totally mitigated the 5. So it's the $598. So so with the 20% discount, this bill did not suffer the increase of the $32 in fuel cost, even though it was added. Because of the relief, the 704, it totally mitigated the 598.82 excess already. Now, things to note, everybody, looking at the bills very closely. Under 100 kilowatt hours. So if you notice these bills, these last 2 bills are under 100 kilowatt hours. Your energy charge is $8.31. So $8.31 times whatever your energy charge is. Once it is below 100 kilowatt, it's going to be, the rate is $8.31. So if this bill used up to 100 kilowatt, they're only going to be charged $831 on the energy charge. Remember, I'm not talking about the fuel now, I'm talking about the energy charge. However, if your bill is over 100 kilowatt, if you use over 100 kilowatt hours, they're going to charge you at a rate of 23.8, which is roughly 3 times. Therefore, the lower your consumption, so once your consumption is below 100 kilowatt hours, you only charge 8.31. Anything over 100 kilowatts, so once you jump into 500. So for that particular bill, you're looking up at the top. If you go over the 100, so see the consumption there. So if your consumption is $5.99, the first 100, they charge you $831. But for the next $499 worth of energy charge, you are going to be charged $11,906 based on the calculations. Also of note, non-taxable below 150 kilowatt hours. So there's a GCT aspect applied to the electric bill as well. The threshold is only 150 kilowatt hours. 150 kilowatt hours and below, they don't add GCT. But once your consumption is above 150, whatever is above 150. So in this case, you would subtract. So if this consumption is $5.99, as I said, you subtract the 150 from the $5.99, and whatever is left, they're going to add a GCT portion to it. Did I have anything below this, or this was it? No. All right, so it tells you that persons below a certain level of consumption, looks like maybe below 150, 120, I don't know, were given a 20% barrel discount relief. 1. Also, the fuel cost was what was raised in July-August bill from 24,335 to 32.172, which was what caused the increase in the bills. You are also to note that the taxable portion is over 150. Once the part of your bill goes over 150 kilowatt hours, you are going to be charged an additional GCT. And persons who use under 100 kilowatt will only be charged for the energy charge at $8.31. But if you're a user using over 100 kilowatt, you're going to be charged at a rate of 23.860. Now, what you have to ask yourself now, how do I get my consumption to be below 100, Tony? That's the moral of the story here. How?
Well, one thing I do is when I leave for work in the mornings, I turn off all my non-essentials. So like my computer, printer, things that are running in the back, my internet box and those things, I turn them off. Only thing that's there running is the fridge.
And if you're smart, you can turn off the fridge too. You can put a timer on your fridge. So that's one way you can cut down your bill, everybody. So if you put a timer on your refrigerator, allow your refrigerator to go down in the nights when you're in your bed sleeping and nobody's opening the door every minute. So maybe it could go down at maybe 11 p.m., comes back on at 5 a.m. You're going to find a reduction in your bill because your energy consumption is going to be lower with the refrigerator off for 5 hours. Other thing is, what I've discovered is the amperage on your refrigerator, if it needs to be below 5 amps. So like the refrigerator that Tony have, I remember when I was buying that in Quartz, I was insisting, open the fridge, look in the back, look at the specs, do this, do that. And the man was annoyed. As I pull it out, if it's not in the door, pull it out. It's at the back. So you pull out the fridge and look at the back and all of that.
I know the fridge is only 2 amps.
The fridge is how much?
2 amps.
2 amps. Your refrigerator must be 5 amps and below. So those of you with refrigerators, go and look. Open the door. It's on the door spec. Not on the door. Usually it's in the body of the fridge. When you open the door, you see it on the body. This is a silver thing with some numbers on it. You're looking for amps, which is A. Whatever number is beside the A, that's the amps, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them will write amps, and you write AMPS. Some of them will just have the A. So look and see. If you're over 5 amps, know that the refrigerator is not efficient and you're burning some serious current. Usually, it is the refrigerator that is pulling the current, right? Get more efficient with your refrigerator, or as I said, turn it off. Get a time on it. Let it go down in the night, and it won't damage anything. It will just, your motor will just come on and off. No matter of fact, you will rest your motor for 5 hours and last longer.
I think the motor here on this fridge sleeps too, because sometimes I hear it and then sometimes I don't hear it.
Right. Yeah.
So it does have a resting period.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe come up when it wants to cool down. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
So you have to do that. So the amperage on the fridge, I discovered that years ago. So now I need to get serious. Even where I am, I need to really go check the amperage on the refrigerator.
But what I realized with my fridge is that I really can't plug it out because I don't have enough things in the fridge that will keep it cool on the inside. Like I don't have enough frozen items.
But your fridge is already 2 amps.
Yeah.
So you don't need to plug out that 2 amp fridge. And it's a big 2-door fridge too, guys. It's a big 2-door fridge you have, double door fridge, and it's 2 amp. So you have to look at the specs. So you're next thing in the market for a refrigerator, look at the specs. As a matter of fact, if you're not in the market right now, and you go and look on your refrigerator and it is saying 10 amps, 15 amps, anything above 5, you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yes, I did the homework, and it's a fuel cost that's keeping it up. But people with low consumption got a 20% barrel discount. But I don't understand why nobody never ball out in the media so them get a discount. You see what I'm saying?
No, because look at me. I didn't know that my bill had a discount on it because it's just still low. It's only people with the high bill my bill is high. Nobody's really reading the bill in that detail.
I guess so. You even get the 704 barrel leave discount totally wiped out the $598 increase in the fuel charge on that bill, right? So everybody you have to keep the JPS bill low. The thing is, I feel like with JPS you can't win though. Mm-hmm. Even when you do all these things, it's like you just cannot win, really. So you might have explored going solar, I don't know. But it is possible, based on those 2 bills, it is possible to still live. I guess the only time that will pull up the bill is when you do the AC, right? Are you running the AC, by the way?
Yeah, this month, well, for August, I ran the AC because my computer is overheating. So I should get a higher bill for next month.
Okay. Well, I'm sure persons here would be interested to see what that bill looks like with the AC running. Mm-hmm. But you have now sorted out the problem with the computer, right? Because you don't want to run the AC because of that.
No, I bought the parts, so they should be here end of week coming, and then I would have sorted it out.
Okay, and Tony, go and fix the computer herself to everybody. Jack of all trades. All right. We have more questions. Time is almost upon us.
All right, so more no questions on the JPS bill, but questions on the. Okay, so Sasha says hi Sasha, and Defenny says good morning. I'm late about the Portland development. How's it going? And my Serenity wants to know, when will your book be released? Yes, Mom, I want to know, when will your book be released? You need to give yourself a release date so that we can work towards it.
The first book I'm releasing actually is the one on how to build a concrete block and steel house. That's the one I'm feverishly working on. Took a break this week because Tony had me doing a renovation for her, but that's finished now, finally. Mm-hmm. So I'm back to it this week coming. I'm really trying to get this thing out by December. I'm really trying. What happened? The build on one land requires some videos too and stuff. Because it's really practical construction. So I'm just doing the theory part of it now, building that out. I am almost finished with those chapters, and then I move to actually the workbook, because you still need to know some workbooks, how you calculate how many tiles, how you calculate how many blocks must go in your house, and so on. So you're going to need that. So you have the book, text, you have the workbook, goes together, and then you have the video series. So all of that, yes, I'm working on. And then I will move back to my subdivision book, which I have actually bumped out the skeleton already, but I stopped that to complete this because I know that the people at Palmetto Pines who will be getting their title soon, getting their land soon, when they won't get them title, most of them loans. So you don't get your title goes to the loan company. But they'll be getting their land soon, and I want them to be able to have some kind of direction what it is they do, because driving around Jamaica, I just see all of the half-finished buildings and all of these things, and I'm like, oh my God, no knowledge, and knowledge is missing. That's what's missing, the knowledge. So that's why I've decided to put this one in front of the other one and get it done. So yes, by December I should be finished with that one.
Hurricane Gilbert says, thanks so much for taking the time to answer my questions.
No problem, Gilbert.
And my Serenity says, do you recommend any books that is specific to Jamaican real estate investing?
Oh my gosh, no. But they're all the books, any book on investing in real estate is still applicable to Jamaica. Jamaica is not unique with real estate, you know. You can do in America, England, Switzerland, Spain, you can do it here. Same thing. Know the categories that you can invest in real estate. You have the commercial if you want to do that. You have residential, you have warehouses, you have storehouses, you have agriculture. There are so many different things, but the fundamentals are the same. Pick a niche. Get into it. So like for us now, it is Homestead. That's a niche. We have one already. We're forming a second one. So our niche now is Homestead. You also have residential. You have so we're getting down into it now. So you have assisted living. You have nursing homes. You have garages. So you can say, okay, I'm gonna invest in. I know this is a Jamaican people now in the garage one place. I'm gonna buy all these parcels of land around different parishes, and I'm just gonna set up garages. Anything you can do, you can set up warehouse. And you say, okay, I want a warehouse in every parish. Anything that you can do, I want a plaza in every parish. I want 100 doors on the building. Then you can put up 100 doors in every parish. Or you stick in a zone and you say, Kingston 5. Anything that I set up must be in Kingston 5. Niche. It's not unique. So pick up any book and get going. No. What I will tell you is going to be hard for you. You have to have a stamina to get through it. If you pick up the book by yourself and you start to read it, it's going to be a slow boat to China. That much I can tell you. All the persons in my book club and in my millionaire club will tell you that. You must get in a group. So either you form the group with your family members, your friends, your church sisters, your co-workers, and so on. You must get in the groups, because it's just like you go to university, guys. You alone are sit down on your desk and try to study, all kind of things that distract you. Plus, you don't understand something, nobody to talk to, nobody to fledge it out. Everybody have different perspective on things. Every time I'm reading and going through these books, somebody asks a question or come with a different perspective on it, I learn something different. That is how you're going to succeed. You cannot succeed in real estate investing on your own. That's the first thing. You need your network together. You need that. You can't do it by yourself. It's like any other profession or any other what's the word I'm looking for? So you have so you're in the business of housing or accommodation or construction. You have to work with people. It's not one man build a house. It's a whole team. So it's the same thing with real estate investing, just another arm of real estate. So you have real estate sales, you have real estate building, construction, you have real estate subdivision, you have real estate investing. It's just another arm. But it's still to the network. You have to get the people together, right? But it's no different. There's no difference. See somebody making a note that real estate laws are different in Jamaica. No, they're not. Real estate laws were built on the British laws. I don't think you would think there's a law here that we have that never come from somewhere. You understand? Remember, so we are only 60 years old. Really? Even the law about what law name? The one that talks about adverse possession. It's called the Limitations Act. Limitations Act. You know how long Limitations Act is about? The laws are no different, guys. Real estate laws are no different in Jamaica than anywhere else.
Maybe American law.
Maybe America. Because them is a creature by themselves. But we coming from the British system. So
America
the laws are the same.
law just to change laws.
Yeah, and we still have to go to the Privy Council. So our laws must be in line with that, right? It's no different. What is happening to most persons? You have not been reading any books at all. Pick up any book on real estate investing. I bought Carlton Sheets, which is US based. Carlton Sheets, and I found things in there I could use.
Mom, did you do the no money down, vendor's mortgage, and I think another thing you used?
Wraparound mortgage, all of that. I learned that from Carlton Sheets. And he's overseas, he's in the United States of America. And I was able to still use it and apply everything him say here. Well, most things, not everything yet, but most. I don't apply wraparound mortgage yet. The bank of a corporate, which they usually don't. But yeah, but there's so many. When I came into real estate, I bought Champion. What's the name of that guy? Champion, Real Estate Champion. Trying to remember his name. I bought his CD. Dirk Zeller. When I just came into real estate sales, I bought Dirk Zeller's series. And Dirk Zeller's series taught me everything I needed to know. As a matter of fact, there's a book that I bought to name Real Estate Agent for Dummies. That's the name?
Yeah.
That's the name?
Yeah.
Something like that. You can probably find even real estate investing for dummies. And it will help you just the same. Do not discount books. Besides, you really probably don't want a local book. You want an international book. Where them people that we advance of us. We're only 62 years old. Other nations are 250, 300 years old. They must know more than we. Pick up those books, go on Amazon and search. I have a whole heap of books on investing. Yeah. The first book that taught me really about anything to do with real estate is the book called The Richest Man in Babylon. That everybody discount the little poo-fool book. But me telling us that book, and when you read other real estate book, them I go quote from that book, The Richest Man in Babylon. That book tells you that the first thing you must do is buy a house to live in. And even in my own groups, I'm hearing persons trying to shortcut that. You don't. When you're in school, and I'm reminded again because Xander and Zaven are now here. that we must start at A, B, C, and 1, 2, 3. Then we move on to A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so on and so forth. We build on it. So the first thing you must do is buy a house to live in, convert your rent to mortgage. I don't care which country you're in. It don't matter which country you're in. Any country you decide that is where my home is, that's where I'm going to live, buy the house that you're living. Own the house that you're living. Somebody actually put it in the chat last week. That's the first thing you're going to learn about real estate, is by buying a house to live in. When you buy the house to live in, you're going to know all the steps, which is what I said to agents, young agents. I say, you really want to know about real estate, you have to go buy yourself a house, man. Buy a property. Then you know the steps. So when you're talking to people, you have the experience. Not just what them tell you on paper, but you have the experience. And it's by doing it over and over and over. One of these things you learn as you go, over and over and over. You have to read the book, pick out what you want to pick out, use what you want to pick out, and do it. And everything I found in all the investment books, everything that the people say, you can't use it, just have to get creative. There's nothing in there you can't use. Buy the books. So in our book club, we read Richest Man in Babylon, read Think and Grow Rich. We read Richest Man in Babylon, it gives us a nitty-gritty. Think and Grow Rich, it works on our minds. Our minds. And we use Robert Kiyosaki as a motivational book to show, which is Rich Dad Poor Dad, to show how you can move from here to there. Right? And then we'll move on to other more advanced books. So in the Millionaire Group clubs, we're on to more advanced books. But if you haven't read those 3 fundamental books, your mind is not trained, not yet primed. You notice when you're doing something like you're painting a wall, you have to prime it first to take the paint. So it's the same thing. The books are priming your mind, setting the mindset. That's what it does. Set up the mindset of how you think so that you can now start activating your brain. Because real estate investing is not a lazy thing. You know? It's not. If you're lazy, you can't do real estate investing. Because it's a real fast thing, active. By the time you see this property on somebody gone with it. It has happened to us. Right? You have to be on the ball. Just a mindset. Think. You have another question, Tony? Bounce these out. It's 8:04. Let's bounce them out.
But you have to be less long-winded, Mom, if we're going to bounce them out.
All right. Let's bounce them out.
Sasha wants to know, are there still parcels at Palmetto Pines for sale? Yes, there's parcels for sale. I've sent the website to you. On the map page, you can see anything that is in green is still available. RPW wants to know, I'm late for the Portland development. Can I still buy into that development?
Portland? Yeah, you can buy as a buyer when we set out the prices.
Okay. My Serenity says JPS.
Or you can join this new group too.
My Serenity says JPS will continue with this behavior until there is competition.
That bit.
Lexi says, can you transfer a cash secured loan to a registered title?
I don't understand the question. A cash secured loan? You mean use a cash secured loan to buy a property?
No, transfer a cash secured loan to a title.
Why?
Maybe so you can get back in cash? I don't know. Is it cash held in trust or something?
If you're borrowing the cash to buy the property, then you have borrowed against the cash, meaning your own cash. So you have 50 million in the bank, you want to buy a property, but what you do, instead of making the bank use the land as a collateral, you are saying to the bank, here is the cash, 50 million, hold it, and then give me 50 million to go buy this land. Technically, what you have done is use your own money to buy the land, because, and then you make the bank give you back your own money to borrow. Cash secured. So you have the cash in the bank, and you go to the bank and you borrow the money from the bank and you say, hold the cash, but give me 50 million. So the bank is holding your own money, paying you 1% interest, but giving you back the 50 million as a loan at 9% interest. That don't make sense. What you must do is use land as a collateral for it and keep your cash free and clear. If I'm understanding the question.
So what if he did use cash secured to do something else?
Well, you never use cash secured. Why? Cash secured mean you're keeping the cash in the bank. Are you telling the bank to lend you back the money? So the bank charging you 9% interest and giving you 1% interest in the back.
Lexi G says to free up the cash held against cash. Right, which is what I figured you wanted to do.
Free up the cash held against cash? I don't understand. Maybe I'm not understanding the question.
Maybe
I have the cash
or to buy something, but now you have access to a property now and you want to transfer that lien to the property so you can get back your cash.
Transfer the lien to the property.
That's how I read it.
That what?
Maybe explain it a little bit more.
That what? How you read it?
I read it that you had cash
and
then you took a cash secured loan to do something, but now you have a property that's free and clear and you want to transfer that lien to the title itself so that you can have your cash to use.
Yes, you can do that. If the bank will allow you, yes.
Gavet says, yes, I read the book years ago and reread from time to time and implemented the steps. Buffalo says, morning. Hurricane says,
I read the book 1988. That's The Richest Man in Babylon. And within 1.5 years, I was buying my first property. So I read it 1988. I still have the book with the stamp in it. 1988. By 1989, I deposited. And by January 1990, I was moving into that house in Spanish Town. 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom.
Can be done, Imam. Can be done.
Everything the book said. 7 steps. And I continue to do everything the book says. Bring up the steps, Tony. The steps are...
Time for that now. We're trying to come off live.
Oh, we're trying to come off live. Maybe next week I discuss it. I just died a book club.
Gilbert says, I'm impressed with the way you set up the first homestead. If I understand correctly, it's actually set up as a corporation. Brilliant idea.
Yeah, it's set up as a limited company. So it's called Homestead Development Limited.
And
we have shareholders. So all of us who invested at the time are shareholders, yes. So now we're moving into construction phase. So we have already done design and all of that. So we're moving now into construction phase to get that going. Sell some, and each person who is a shareholder will get a piece of land. Yes, that's how it's set up. And other things are attached to it as well. But you have to be part of the group to know. Because remember, we're a private company as well. But so it's set up according to how those persons had met at the time. And there are actually 20 of us, right? So it was set up at that time and whatever vision we had at that time. Now with the River Group, the vision can be different. We can do different things. We can do anything we want. Once a group decides what it is that we go with. All right?
All right. Lexi G says to free up cash held against cash. And Lexi G says, yes, Tony. All right.
Okay.
And Lexi G says, does a mortgage loan has a lower interest rate than a secured loan?
Then an unsecured loan, you mean? Or a secured loan with cash.
Secured loan with cash.
When you have cash, you can usually pull the bank's finger and try and get a lower interest rate because you have cash. But technically, you're borrowing your own cash anyway. I would have borrowed my own cash because that interest rate must be higher than the interest rate that they're giving you. But the mortgage rate is usually lower than unsecured loan. So unsecured loan rate now I think is, what is it now? Is it 18% still? It was 18%. And the mortgage rate was 6%. I think mortgage rates are now at 9, 10 in some cases. So that interest rate of 18% may have gone a little higher now as well. But this unsecured loan is also, so you must discount the unsecured loan, you know. Next week we'll do the maths on it. Unsecured loan, even though the interest rate is higher, you have it only for 5 years. So you find that over the period you will pay less interest overall, even though the interest rate is higher, simply because you have a shorter period in which you pay. So most of the money is going back to the principal. But with the mortgage, a 30-year mortgage, a 40-year mortgage, and so on, it's a longer period. It's a longer period. You end up paying way more interest, even though the interest rate is lower. Next week we can look at it. But that's how it is. The sweet spot with the mortgage, if you're taking the mortgages, I found the sweet spot to be 15 years. If you can afford it, take a 15-year mortgage, right? And pay it off. If not, take the 30 years or the 40 years just to qualify, and then you pay the mortgage as if you were paying a 15-year mortgage. So what you do, them tell you, say you must pay 10,000 a month, and when you calculate the 15 year is 15,000 a month. You pay 15,000 a month, but what you're gonna do is the extra 5,000 a month, you're gonna add it to principal. Now NHT allows you to add that to principal very easily. But you can go into the bank, ask them to change it to a 15-year mortgage. However, they may want back pay slips and all of that. So to beat that, what you do, pay the 15-year, pay it as a 15-year mortgage. So just pay them, send the money there. Then every maybe 6 months, you go there and you tell them, hey, you're supposed to have some money in escrow for me. I want you to put it on the principal. Physically go into the bank and tell them that. So if you must pay 10,000 a month, pay 15,000 a month, send it to them, or even make them deduct it, send it to them. They're not gonna pay no attention. But every 6 months you go in there and say, hey, look how much money I have in escrow. You're supposed to know. And them tell you, ask them to move it over to your principal. All right?
Gavin says, how do I join the book club?
Oh, usually Gavin is when we announce it that we're having a book club. We're not having that now because I'm still in Millionaire Investment, which we're doing a book here. We're so finished that book anyway. We're doing that book now. We'll soon finish that, and then we'll probably open back the book club. But this time I'm going to charge for the book club. Because I find people coming in my book club wasting time, man. Them come this week, them not come next week. All kind of things. You know, and they don't buy their books. Can't come in the class and don't buy your book. You have to buy your book.
You're literally gonna have to make everybody turn on their video and show you their book.
Yeah, you know, like the teacher. When you talk about, oh, me have audio book. Oh, me have digital. Remember, buy a book, guys. You don't send your children to school without books, right? So you must buy books.
I mean, when I see Xander and Zaven have hand-long book lists, I'm like, wow, it's so early we started with books.
Tony, you know, have you seen a book? I'm like,
I know, I was like,
a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old.
I said, these people can't even write. What am I doing so much book?
I'm in pain, I'm telling you, but you know, not saying anything because My mother was a stickler for books. Every Friday she brought me a book. And she insisted that I did read it too. So, and because of that, I'm a better person. And I also insisted with my own children. I mean, we have a whole library of books, right?
You
I
know what?
literally pick a book off a shelf.
I was
That's how we
impressed.
have books. Hmm?
The other day, my computer was on. I know my login screen has my name on it.
Mm-hmm.
And Xander was in my room at my PC, and he read my name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't tell him what it was. He just read it, and I was like, "Wow, these phonics class is working."
Yeah, yeah. So you have to, guys, you have to buy the books. I mean, don't flinch. Go on Amazon, type in real estate investment, real estate sales, real estate construction, whatever you want to learn. You want the stocks? Read a book. Go on to every book that in his the whole body of knowledge that is out there, and stop with all of a YouTube video and TikTok video. Them not teaching us. Them just like a little snippet and them forget the main thing. The main thing is in the book.
Mhm.
That's where you're gonna learn what you really want to do. It's in the book. All right. The children who had books in class, those are the children who did well. Those of them who have to look over somebody's shoulder to look in our book, not gonna cut it.
Mhm.
Right? All right. So join the book club when you open it back, and this time you're gonna pay for it. Let me just tell you from now. That way, only serious people join the club. Who serious join? Tony, you have anything else?
No, that's all our questions.
All right. Now to meet the plumber. Thank you, everybody, for staying with us this morning. And we hope to see you next week. As the Gavin says, you have a whole library full of books, including all the ones you mentioned. Yes, Gavin. Makes me a much better person. I hope you implemented some of the things as well.
Yeah, man, I did.
It was actually Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, What the Rich Teach Your Children and the Poor Don't, that taught me about subdividing land into R3, R4, whatever.
Mhm.
And that piece of information in Robert's book is is like the last chapter of the book. The man said it to the Tony. If you did not read the whole book, you would have missed it.
Mhm.
You know, you have some people read piece of the book and forget the rest.
And what I realized with these books too, you can't skip it. Like you can't just go to the chapter that you think is relevant. You have to read the book first, and then you can go back to chapters that you really want to stick with. But the books really build on your knowledge. You can't skip it.
Can't skip it. So everything is there for you to know. It's just like you haven't been doing enough reading. All right. Bye, everybody. Those of you who need to get some sleep, come back and get that now. Put the Sunday dinner. But I wish I could have eaten some oxtail right now, but not possible. All right, everybody.
Right, not possible.
No. I'm tired.
You have a Instapot. You can suppose you can make oxtail.
Oh, you have an Instapot.
Mm.
Thanks to my very good friend Jackie. She was the one who taught me maths at Woolmars. Jackie, big up, shout out. Yeah, the Instapot for true. It's so easy. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.